The old house stood on the edge of the village, silent, imposing. Its presence was a constant reminder of a bygone era, a time when the house was filled with laughter, music, and life. Now it was but a shadow of its former self, a relic of the past that seemed to hold on to its secrets with a tight grip. It had seen better days. The once grand facade was now marred by the ravages of time. The paint, which had once been vibrant, was now peeling away, revealing the bare wood beneath. The windows, which had once sparkled in the sunlight, were now broken and covered in grime. The stone walls, which had once stood strong and proud, were now crumbling and covered in moss. Now its walls whispered tales of forgotten times. The rooms, once filled with the sounds of life, were now silent and empty. Dusty photographs, remnants of a happier time, lay forgotten in the corners. Cobwebs hung from the ceilings, a testament to the years of neglect. The house seemed to be waiting, holding its breath as if expecting something or someone to return. Every night as the moon cast long, eerie shadows, a haunting melody drifted from the house. The melody was soft at first, barely audible, but it grew louder as the night wore on. It was a tune that seemed to come from the very soul of the house, a melody that spoke of pain, longing, and unfulfilled dreams. A melancholic tune, full of pain and longing. The notes seemed to hang in the air, each one a cry for help, a plea for release. The piano, covered in dust, seemed to play itself, the keys moving as if guided by an unseen hand. The melody was hauntingly beautiful, yet filled with a deep sadness that seemed to echo through the empty rooms. It was the sound of a soul in torment. The villagers spoke of a ghostly figure that could be seen at the piano, a shadowy presence that seemed to be trapped in the house. They said that the figure's face was twisted in agony, a reflection of the pain and suffering that the melody conveyed. The ghostly figure was said to be the spirit of the artist who had once lived in the house. The villagers spoke of a cursed artist. They whispered about his tragic fate, how he had been a brilliant musician, a composer of great talent, but his life had been filled with sorrow and hardship. He had poured his heart and soul into his music, creating compositions that were both beautiful and haunting. They said he had poured his life into his final composition, his masterpiece. It was a symphony that was meant to be his magnum opus, a work that would cement his legacy as one of the greatest composers of his time. He had worked tirelessly, day and night, driven by a passion that consumed him, but fate had other plans. But death had claimed him before he could play the last note. The artist had collapsed, his life snuffed out in an instant, leaving his masterpiece unfinished. The music manuscript, covered in dust, lay forgotten, a testament to his unfulfilled dreams. The ghostly figure trapped in the house was said to be the artist's spirit, forever bound to the place where he had spent his final days. Now his unfinished symphony echoed through the night. The melody, filled with pain and longing, was a constant reminder of his tragic end. The wind seemed to carry the notes, spreading them through the village, a haunting reminder of the artist's unfulfilled dreams. The house, once filled with life, was now a tomb, a place where the past and present seemed to merge, a constant reminder of his tragic end. The villagers, though fearful, could not help but be drawn to the melody. It was a part of their history, a story that had been passed down through generations. The house, with its haunting melody, stood as a testament to the artist's life and his unfulfilled dreams. It was a place of sorrow, but also of beauty, a reminder that even in death, the artist's spirit lived on through his music. Ilara, a young woman with a heart full of music, was captivated. She had always felt a deep connection to melodies, as if they spoke a language only she could understand. Every note seemed to resonate with her soul, weaving a tapestry of emotions that words could never capture. Her emerald eyes mirrored the moonlit sea as she listened. The music seemed to flow through her, filling her with a sense of wonder and longing. It was as if the moonlight itself was singing to her, casting a spell that she couldn't resist. The melody called to her, drawing her towards the abandoned house. It was a place shrouded in mystery, a relic of a forgotten time. The house stood silent and still, yet it seemed to hum with the echoes of the past, whispering secrets that only the music could reveal. She felt an inexplicable pull. The path was dark and winding, but she walked with purpose, guided by the haunting tune that filled the night air. Each step brought her closer to the source of the melody, and with it, a deeper understanding of the sorrow that lay within, a need to understand the sorrow that resonated from every note. The music was beautiful, yet it carried a weight of sadness that tugged at her heart. It was a story of loss and longing, a tale that needed to be told.
Night after night, I would sit beneath the willow tree. The tree's ancient branches seemed to cradle me, offering a sense of comfort amidst the growing darkness. It was my sanctuary, a place where I could lose myself in the music and the memories it evoked, its weeping branches mirroring my own growing sadness. The tree seemed to understand my pain, its leaves whispering in the wind, sharing in my sorrow. It was as if the tree and I were connected, both of us mourning something lost. I would listen to the music. Each note was a thread in a tapestry of emotions, weaving a story that was both beautiful and heartbreaking. The melody was a puzzle, each piece a clue to a greater mystery that I was determined to solve, each note a piece of a tragic puzzle. The music spoke of a time long past, of love and loss, of dreams unfulfilled. It was a haunting melody that lingered in my mind, urging me to uncover its secrets. I was determined to solve the mystery of the haunted melody. It was more than just a song. It was a key to understanding the past, to finding closure for the souls who had once lived and loved. And so I followed the music, letting it guide me on a journey of discovery and healing.
Ilara wasn't afraid of the old house, not really. She was drawn to its sadness, to its secrets. As if guided by an unseen hand, she stepped over the threshold. The air inside was heavy with dust and decay. Silence hung thick and oppressive, until the music began.
It beckoned me forward. My fingers danced over the keys. The ivory was cold beneath my touch, as though the chill of death lingered still. I closed my eyes, and for a moment I could almost see him, the artist.
The villagers called him Lucian, a tormented genius. His presence was a mystery, a shadow that lingered in the corners of their minds. They whispered tales of his brilliance, his passion. His music was the talk of the town, a symphony of emotions that resonated with everyone who heard it. Yet behind the melodies there was a story untold, a life shrouded in secrecy, and his unrequited love for a woman as beautiful as she was cruel. Her name was Isabella, a name that rolled off the tongue like a sweet melody but carried the weight of heartbreak. She was the muse that inspired his greatest works, yet the source of his deepest sorrows. He poured his heart into his music. Each composition was a reflection of his inner turmoil, a canvas painted with the colors of his soul. The piano was his sanctuary, a place where he could escape the harsh realities of his unfulfilled desires, each note an echo of his soul. The keys under his fingers seemed to weep and rejoice, capturing the essence of his being. His music was a language of its own, a dialogue between his heart and the world.
I discovered his journals hidden beneath piles of sheet music. They were relics of a bygone era, filled with the scribbles of a man who lived through his art. I read about his dreams, his frustrations. Each page was a window into his soul, revealing the man behind the music. His aspirations were grand, his disappointments even grander. His desperate longing for a love that would forever elude him. The words on the pages spoke of nights spent in solitude, staring out into the darkness, yearning for a touch that never came. The music, I realized, was his way of coping. It was his refuge, his escape from the pain that life had dealt him. Through his compositions, he found a way to express the inexpressible, of expressing the emotions that words could not contain. His music was a testament to his resilience, a chronicle of a heart that refused to be silenced. In every note, in every chord, Lucian's spirit lived on, whispering to those who would listen.
One rainy afternoon, Ilara ventured into the attic. Cobwebs clung to her hair like ghostly fingers. Dust swirled in the air, illuminated by stray beams of sunlight. And there, amidst the forgotten relics of a bygone era, she found it. Lucian's unfinished masterpiece.
The notes on the page seemed to vibrate with a life of their own. I could almost hear the melody in my head. It was beautiful, haunting, and tragically incomplete. I knew then that I had to finish what Lucian had started.
Night after night, Ilara practiced. The haunting melody filled the old house, driving away the silence that had lingered for years. She poured her heart into each note, feeling Lucian's presence beside her, guiding her fingers, sharing his pain.
I understood his anguish, the way his heart had ached for a love that was never meant to be. I poured all my empathy, all my understanding into the music, and slowly the melody began to change. The notes, once filled with sorrow, now held a glimmer of hope.
As Alara delved deeper into the music, she began to experience vivid dreams, visions of Lucian's life, his love, his despair. She saw him not as a ghost but as a man consumed by his own emotions.
She felt the sting of my rejection, the crushing weight of my unrequited love, my inability to let go.
It was this pain, this refusal to accept reality that tethered him to the house.
The woman Lucian loved was called Celeste. She was everything he was not, confident, aloof, unreachable.
She toyed with my affections, reveling in the power she held over me.
He, blinded by love, refused to see her true nature. He clung to the hope that one day she would return his affections. But hope, Alara realized, could be as much a curse as a blessing. As Alara neared the end of Lucian's composition, she felt a growing sense of urgency.
I knew I was running out of time. I had to help Lucian find peace, to let go of his pain.
The final note hung in the air, a delicate balance between sorrow and acceptance. And as it faded into silence, Alara felt a shift in the atmosphere. The house no longer felt heavy with despair, it felt lighter, freer. Lucian appeared before her, not as a ghost but as a memory. He looked at her with gratitude in his eyes.
I am finally free from the chains of my own making, free to move on.
The music had been his prison. His inability to let go, his refusal to accept reality had trapped him. But through Alara's empathy and her willingness to understand his pain, he was finally able to find peace. Alara sat at the piano, the silence no longer deafening but peaceful. The house, no longer a haunted shell, felt like a home again. The experience had changed her. It had taught her the importance of letting go, of accepting what cannot be changed.
I closed my eyes and played, not Lucian's music but my own, a melody filled with hope and healing, the music of a soul that had found its own peace.